Welcome to my first tutorial on Affinity Designer. This is the iPad version, and I want to go over layers. Okay, layers are very important to vector design. Every object you make in a vector program, whether it's Illustrator, Inkscape, CorelDRAW, or Affinity Designer, each object will become a layer, or a sublayer, as it's called. I'm going to click on the layer palette. This is very important because you want to control where objects lie. You also want to be able to access your layers and know what you're working on. So we need to know how to adjust and move things around on the layers and name them. Now my end goal right here is to take this distress pattern, which is layer 1, and I didn't name it properly, and move it on top so that everything looks distressed, not just the computer system's font. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through how to select a layer and how to name it. And this is what I mean by the way, layers getting out of control with the sublayers. If I click on my distressed, each little object that I made for a distress is going all the way down here, and it goes for a while. And so I'm going to just minimize that real quick. I'm going to name this guy. So I'm going to select it. You can see it selected on the screen. I'm going to hit this 3 dots in a circle up here. And I'm going to click on the name layer 1. Just delete it out and name it what you need to do. Okay, now that I've named my layers, some things that you can do. Okay, let's talk about adjusting things, turning things on and off. If you want to select more than one layer in Affinity Designer, you can click on the layer, and then if you take the next layer you want to select, you just swipe. And it's as if you're holding the Shift key on a Mac or a PC, and you can just go right down the line. Now, if I want to turn it off, I'm just going to hit these checks, and if I hit 1 while they're all selected, it's going to turn them all off at once. It doesn't matter which one I'm hitting, it'll turn them back on too. If I want to deselect that group, I just pick another layer and go off I go. Now, the great thing about this whole setup is, just like any vector program, if I click on the layer, and I click and hold, I can drag it, and I can actually add, if I hold the layer right on top of the other one, into that, and you'll see it's still a group within it, see? And it's added to that. If I don't want it there, just click, hold, and drag it up and out. Now, what I've done was I've added it to the Cisco layer by accident, and I can just move it up above, and so no. And so I didn't add it there. Now, that's how you move things around. You just click, hold, and move it. There's 2 ways of getting the distress pattern up on top. One, I can select every single layer and then move it below the distress. But the easiest way is for me to just click on distress, hold, and drag it above everything. And there you go. My distressed pattern's on top. You can lock and trash layers too. So if I, for some reason, don't want this one layer that I have down here called layer 1, didn't name it, it's from a previous design because I'm trying to make everything look the same, there's 2 things I can do. I can hit the trash can in the lower left hand corner, or I can hit the trash can in the palette. It'll destroy it and get rid of it. Now if I want to add another layer, it's quite obvious. I just hit plus right here, and then I can choose between a vector, a pixel, a mask, or an empty mask layer. If I want to group layers, I'll select 2 of them together like this, and I'll hit group, and then it takes and groups it, but then you'll have to rename it. If I don't like what I did, just take 2 fingers, tap on your iPad, and it'll undo. This is basic layer setup. Okay, I will have more tutorials on drawing vector shapes. Just remember, have fun, experiment, make some mistakes, because sometimes the mistakes are the best things you ever done.